Hey guys. Okay, what we've got here is my Automedic script. It's going to be available as a mod. So what I hope to do with this video is just run through what's happening in it, where to find stuff, so you can hopefully effectively add it to your own project, incorporate it into your own mission or mod. Okay, so basically for the initial setup here for this demonstration, I've got a bunch of soldiers who are, some are player 1, some are player 0. Okay, they're just sitting behind some barricade. They're going to face off. So we've got automedics at the back here for each team. They're tagged automedic, as you can see, and just some soldiers at the front. So I have two triggers here. There's one for player 0 and one for player 1. What we have for each, they're exactly the same. So say you do want to use this for your mod and you've already half built it and you've got player 3 and 4 on the map. You'd simply go in and you'd change which player it applies to. And there's several places you'd do that. And you'd just look through, find where that is and just change them, and it'll work for your player set. Okay, so basically we've got a C actors condition for each of these. And what's happening in here is we're looking at, for the selector, it's basically one of the automedics. We're excluding a couple things. So the beauty of the C actors condition is that we can actually assign tags to whoever we specify in here. So that's what we're doing here. We're having medic action, which will be the automedic, and then there's the medic patient, so the one who's laying there bleeding out. So okay, so what happens initially is one of the medics, we're excluding some things here. This ignore here, we'll talk about that in a bit more detail, but we're basically looking at someone who's not already healing. So when a medic does the healing function, they get automatically by the game engine assigned that healing tag. When someone's been shot and they're laying there bleeding, they get that bleeding tag by the game engine as well. I'm also excluding anyone who's inactive or linked to a vehicle. So basically we're looking at a medic who sees one of their team members who's bleeding out nearer than 30 meters, and we're looking at located as far as the detention, so they don't need to be visible or recognized as such, they just need to be located nearby. Then each one gets assigned these tags. So what we then do, after a short delay, we do a call function, a call command. Call command is basically found in generic, and what the call command does is, if we tick the context box, we can then specify who we're going to feed into the function. Now functions exist in F9 here in functions, and you'll see again we've got a medic action player 0 and a medic action for player 1 again. Now when you call a function, you have the option here to set it as standard, advanced like you normally do, or current. Now the current will always be whoever you specify in this call command. So basically who I specify here gets sent across to the function. So that's what's happening. So in there we've specified the medic who saw in the C actor, they were tagged. We've again made sure that we've excluded anybody who got shot suddenly or started who's being ignored. Again, we'll go into more detail on that one. Okay, then there's another delay because basically that function will be happening. So let's quickly run through what happens here. So basically the first thing that happens, they're given 4 commands. The first one just tells them to drop orders, so they stop what they're doing. Whatever they're currently doing, they stop. Then we assign them speed, fast, the fast kind of fast. We don't specify any particular format to move in. We just want them to get, well, we want them to move fast. So that's what the actor state there does. And then the action will be the medic. Now this is one, and the target will be the guy who was assigned bleeding here. So the medic patient. And it's the nearest one to the medic himself. Okay. So he's going to race over and heal that guy. And then we're given another action. Because they're listed one after the other and the orders were dropped here, basically they've got no orders, and they'll be given these next 3 commands here, and it'll approach them in order that they have listed here. So they'll run over and heal the player, and then basically we're going to tell them to move back to where they started from. So with this move command, we're basically telling the current to move back to the one which is the current. You'll notice the ignore tag. So then finally they're told to simply take cover. So they should run over, they should stop what they're doing, run over to the injured guy, heal them, and then move back to where they started from and take cover. That's what that function is supposed to do. Okay, so basically allowing a second for that to happen, and then they're given this effect. Alright, ignore 15. Okay, so what you'll find in the mod is, so here we are in the mods in Automedic, then there'll be resource folder, the set folder, the interaction entity, and then the human ink file. So if we load that up in here, now I've gone through and everything I've edited, so everything's stock standard in this particular human ink file, except for everything I've tagged as my edit. So you'll see I've made a couple of tags. We'll talk more about what they all do, but right now we're going to focus on this one. So the ignore 15, what it does is it adds the tag ignore, and then it delays for 15 seconds, and then it removes that tag. So basically, by using the effect, we tell it who, we apply that effect, we're applying it to both the guy who's bleeding out and the medic himself, and that takes them out of being recalled to do anything else, or it saves, because they're both got the ignored tag excluded here, then there's no chance of them for 15 seconds being picked up again. You won't have 2 medics running to heal the one guy and that sort of thing. Okay, so after our function we apply our 2 effects, 1 to each, and then we simply remove those tags which were applied up here at the C actor. So they're both taken away, and then the trigger can reset to fire again if someone else. So that's what's happening in the mission. So there's only 2 triggers and 2 functions that correspond with those triggers, and that's all that governs this. So let's press start and just watch what happens. So as they get shot, we should see bleeding. He's been given that. Medics come running in. They start doing their healing. Must be 3 guys there. And then the medic's going to make his way back to where he started. Now they've still got the ignore tag, so a different medic's come running over. That tag then has been removed because his 15 seconds were up. So each time we use that ignore 15 effect, it applies that tag for 15 seconds to the individual. It's a great way to control adding and removing tags with effects. Okay, so this is happening over here as well. So basically, our medics are taking care of the guys and then attempting to move back. These guys have obviously been caught up trying to... They've lost their... once they get shot and then revived, their orders will be cleared, so they won't have the order to move back like these guys did. So they're sort of stuck out the front a bit now. Okay, so what we'll press finish there for a moment. What we'll look at is with these tags. Okay, so basically at this stage these tags have been added simply by pressing Control T and typing in Automedic, which is what you do for AI as such. Well, you'd do it for user too, you could. But as a player, down here in the special options, you've got an Automedic toggle. So if you press that, it takes the tag away. So without that tag, they won't be in the system. They won't be picked up by the triggers. If you press it again, okay, now it adds. This again is. Well, I'll show you how that all operates as well. We'll go through that. But now, by using this, you actually get a little symbol above, so you could easily see who your automatics are when you're playing on your team. So you wouldn't necessarily want that for the enemy. You wouldn't want the advantage of seeing who all the medics are from way across here, as they can. Yeah. So if you're setting them up for the enemy, you would just highlight them and Control T and add the tag. But for your player, you'd leave it up to the player's discretion to add and remove it. So you'd probably, if you're calling in reinforcements, you wouldn't have this Automedic tag on there to start off with. You just leave it up to the player to initiate it themselves. That way they can control what's happening on their field. Okay. So now, one of the things is that typically the game by default set up so that to have the personage ability, the unit has to be set to user. That's how it typically is. But what's happening here is I've got AI with the personage tag. Okay, so we'll go back to our Human Inc folder. Okay. Right, where are we? This is why I tagged them. Commented them, I should say. Where are we? Okay, here. The on personage check. Okay, if we look at the original game, resource, game logic, set, interaction entity. Where are we? Human Inc. There. If we look at personage check. Okay. It says if not user control, able personage 0. Now 0, it's either 0 or 1, on or off. What I've done is I've commented, just put the little comment in there so it stops it from being read, and I've changed the else swimming to if swimming, just so that flows on. So basically I've made it so that it doesn't turn off the personage for AI players. They don't have to be user specific now. So that's what that little edit there does. Now the other, we'll look at how this works. This button. Okay. So back to our mod. Okay, so Automatic mod in the resource. So we've got the interface, and now the action. This describes the effect from that button, that automatic toggle button. It describes that it's going to basically cause where are we? Yeah, it causes that 15-minute. No, sorry, not that one. The other one. This one, the automatic. Now what happens here is this is where it tags the automatic, but it also does this view start. Okay, so what's that exactly? That's also added at the top here. This is where we add the view of the automatic. So what is that? That is actually an entity so we're resource entity FX common automatic. So this describes what's happening. We have a sprite view. So interface automatic. Okay, so back to our automatic mod resource. We go texture FX interface. So basically it's that image. That image there. Okay, so it is a DDS file. This is Photoshop's just opened it up. And then here's the little accompanying EBM file that basically describes how that is displayed. So you'll notice it doesn't show the black around it, and it's slightly transparent. That's because in here it talks about it being, the blend is alpha, which is one of the different, it's an alpha layer, it's one of the channels, so the alpha channel is what it's actually working from. Yeah, it all gets a bit technical there, but anyway, if you want to create your own images, you can. You just gotta, if you've got Photoshop or something similar, you look at how this is set up, and you could add your own things, put your own image in there if you want. Okay, so is there anything I've missed in here? So yeah, that's that add view, which then it tells it to start the view here. When you click on, if they're not tagged automatic, it adds that tag when this effect from clicking on that button. It turns on that image, and if you are already tagged, it stops the view and it removes the tag. So that's controlling that. So, but how about actually putting that image in there? Okay. So back to the mod resource. Where are we? Interface. Scene, panel control. Okay, oh, this one's actually the images. So this is the 4 images for the button. So you notice they're slightly different. So each one of those images, basically, as you see, the image changes when you hover on it. Also change slightly when you click it, but you don't notice it. So those 4 images are for that. So they live in resource interface scene control panel. So back to resource. Oh, here we go in set panel control. Okay, so this is this is the right special options. And resource set panel control. Here's the right special document that describes it. And there's the automatic toggle information written in there. This describes basically these locations. Position 0, 0. So 0, 0 there is there. And then that's 0, 1, 0, 2. And then that's 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 0. That's the system it uses here for describing the positions. So you need to get your head around that when you're trying to put your button in the right place. But otherwise just copy this straight in. And with the single there, that's basically so that if I've got more than one unit, the button won't show. Now I've experimented with this, and if you take the single out and you highlight more than one unit, the button will appear, but when you click on it, it doesn't do anything. So basically, for that effect to be applied properly, it needs just a single unit. So I played with that, and this seems to work the best there. In this condition, it's got to be the medic. That button will not appear for a soldier. It just doesn't appear there. So if you could put sniper in there, say, or MG, or whatever, some of the other breed classifications that tie in. So you can actually make different buttons appear for different categories of troops and stuff, depending on what you're trying to do. So yeah, hopefully all that information helps learn something. I don't know. So basically, everything you need is here inside. Is there anything we haven't talked about? Oh, the action. We talk about that. This is, yeah, it's what happens. Causes that effect. So everything you need will be in here. There's nothing in here that shouldn't be. Everything in there totally specifically only applies to this. So if you want to set it up, for your own mission and mod, you'd go through here and have a look and see what applies. Okay, that pretty much covers it, I think. Okay guys, so have fun. Hopefully you're able to incorporate that into your own projects and it works as expected. Okay, good luck.